let's get right into it. So you've migrated from Warhammer 40k, whatever your reasons. GW shitting the bed again with IP protection, upping the price of the models they sell fewer of per box with cheaper costs, codex creep being wiped out in one swoop by changing the entire stat system again, local GW stores kicking you out for using Vallejo paints, whatever it is. You've come to search for another game, and figured Battletech is as good as any to start? Well, first of all, welcome. This is another big name that has lasted nearly 40 years and is going strong, so rest assured the game is good to join. It's not as big as Warhammer, but really, what is? You don't mind though, probably, because surely this game won't be rife with problems and issues, right? Wrong! Battletech has many dramas surrounding it as well, both in and out of house, and in and out of game. Thankfully, most of the issues are out of the game, but still there are a few. You, as the prospective 40k refugee, and even if you aren't one, might want to know what to expect from Battletech as a game and IP, so let's list some of the highlights. You may be used to the idea that some victory points come from painting your dozens of minis in the old game, but that isn't an issue to worry about in Battletech. While many tournaments will ask that you paint your minis, you're more likely to get the heavy-lidded stare of, "Really, Nee? Grr," and nothing else, and then gameplay continues. The game is model agnostic, which means anything can be used as long as the unit is represented in a way that allows all the players to know which unit is where, and this is a detail that many online fans will remind you of when defending themselves not painting their own minis. While it's okay for you to use toenails, screws, lint, and gummy bears, be ready for people to shell out for 4 of each of every limited release box set and use the official minis after extolling the virtues of model agnostic game systems, because they have to use the official things. It's just better. GW likes to get litigious about things like pauldrons, recasters, making models for units they didn't supply one for. They like to make DCMA claims against fan art. Battletech does not. In fact, they're on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's only recently that they've managed to get away from a series of crippling suits from Harmony Gold by hiring more contemporary artists after other companies fended that parasitic company off prior. The IP has, along with Shadowrun, changed hands from Fassicorp through WizKids to Catalyst. Each time a new company has held the IP, Harmony Gold has sued over the designs of mechs. These mechs were owned by Macross and such, but Harmony Gold owns Robotech, which basically legally plagiarizes those other IPs, but woe betide any else who try to use the same look. Between that money sink and Lauren Coleman, not embezzling roughly $800k to remodel his house, a deranged anti-fan pretending to be a woman named Faith McCloskey to remove a near foundational writer for his problematic IRL politics, and people suing for writing their furry fanfictions and not being given subsequent partial ownership of the IP, there's drama. Some delicious, some infuriating. As for model bloat, well, that is not an issue here. The game itself will only need 4 minis to buy a decent game for the foreseeable future. These models will vary in quality, depending on which series of releases you buy them from. The latest ones being a superior plastic to Warhammer for cutting and modding, and text paint very well with good levels of detail retained after even liberal applications of primer. The problem is that there's precious few ways to get individual models for less than $25 each, and the box sets may end up having 1 of 4 minis you want for your force, with others arriving 1, maybe 2 per box. Buying so many sets for 1 force, then not really knowing how you want to combine the extras, can be an issue, especially if 1 mini is really good for more than 1 force. If you want to play bigger games, you might need to get very good at remembering the rules of the game first, or switch to Alpha Strike, the adjoining, simplified, quickened system. 1 lance each of 4 minis needs a mech sheet for each unit, tracking individual damage and equipment. 2 lances each doubles that. A company triples it. Playing company versus company is what you do when you have all day and possibly night to play, and that's all while knowing the rules well. Be ready for a heavy, thick rule set to navigate, just to play the game, with surprisingly little on table for the depth. The final issue you may run into is, what is the community like? This is the hardest hurdle to jump for some. Wherever you go, outside of the inland tracts of barren Australian desert, you will find most likely somebody with GW products. Battletech is like many of the other larger wargames. You might not find it in an entire region for years, and even then they might only have a minuscule selection. Then there's the matter of even finding other players, sometimes another rare resource. You may be the only player for this game for a long distance. The solution would easily be 3D printing and PDF downloading to get the items to play, and there's online communities as well as Megamech, a Java platform that lets you play the game with nearly every unit you can find in a document, anywhere both on and offline. Be warned of the online Facebook community though. There is a certain amount of disdain and hostility to people who play 40k in the online fanbase. If you ask what paints to use, expect these same others to scoff, saying you don't need to do that to play. Expect people to tell you that 40k is the problem with all wargaming, and its fans are the worst people. The online Facebook community of Battletech is dedicated to showing off their purchases as much as playing or painting minis, and many others are actively repulsed by the idea of painting their 4 mechs, which might seem like nothing to you, but it's the most arduous task ever for some, and asking why they don't do it is met with hostile dismissal. If you're not chased away by this, then good. All these issues aside, the game is fun, easy to learn, easy to get started, and if you can find an opponent or two, you'll have a good time playing it. Don't let the bad discourage you. After all, you used to play 40k. Welcome to the dice fields, motherfucker.